Panduranga Hari, Vasudeva Hari, Ram Krishna Hari. We seek blessings at the feet of Lord Vitthal and all the Varkari saints before we continue a narration of Sant Muktabai Charitra. As we saw, Vitthal Pant and Rukhmini along with their 4 children, Nivrutti, Jnandev, Sopandev and Muktabai, lived on the outskirts of the village, Apegaon, in a small hut where they didn't have basic facilities of food and water, and even they did not even have mud vessels in which they could cook their food. Some families would donate them dry grains, but only after lacing it with a lot of abuses and curses. So the entire village, the community, had treated them as an outcast and isolated them, and they felt that this was a suitable punishment for a man who had reversed his ashram from sannyas ashram back to grihastha ashram. Vitthal Pant approached the Brahmin council of Apegaon and pleaded with them not to punish his innocent children for his wrongdoing. But to no avail, the council maintained its stance of isolation being the only way of punishment and repentance. They felt that if an easier punishment was given, then many more sannyasis would come back to householder life, and this would be a complete overrule of all scriptural values. Vitthal Pant, Rukhmini with their 4 children felt that they would go to Trimbakeshwar, have a darshan of Lord Shiva Shankar there, and maybe that would put their heart also to a certain contentment. At Trimbakeshwar, they took a huge pradakshina around the Brahmagiri Parvat. During one such pradakshina, they heard the roar of a lion, and so frightened were they that all the family ran in different directions. Fortunately, all of them ran towards they could find each other, but Nivruttinath Maharaj ran in some other direction and the family could not find him for days together. They feared the worst for him. They continued to stay at Trimbakeshwar, hoping that one day Nivruttinath would definitely come back to them. In the meanwhile, Nivruttinath was so scared of the roar of the lion. Of course, as I say, your scare is this is just a part of a divine strategy. It is to make certain coincidences happen. So Nivruttinath Maharaj ran towards a cave, and in that cave was Gahininath Maharaj. If you remember, we had mentioned in one of the episodes, Gahininath Maharaj was the guru for Govind Pant and Niramai. The moment Nivruttinath entered the cage and saw Gahininath Maharaj, he prostrated in front of him and told him that he was scared because there was a lion somewhere. He could hear it roaring. Gahininath placed his hand on Nivruttinath's forehead and he immediately went into a meditative trance. There was a Shaktipat into him. His mind became calmed, and he did not realize that a period of more than 3 months had passed and he was in the company of this great soul. After 3 months, he came with fully enlightened mind. He searched for his family and returned to them at Trimbakeshwar itself. The family was overjoyed to find Nivruttinath back into their fold. Young Muktai asked Nivrutti, "Dada, what exactly happened to you at Gahininath Maharaj's cave?" Nivruttinath said, "Gahininath Maharaj placed his hand on my head and I felt everything had become calm at once. I did not realize that there was any duality at all. It was oneness between me and him. And I realized that Aham Brahmasmi. I am that, I am Brahma." And he also said one more thing, that there is no Maya, whatever is there is this is a reality, this is a truth, and this is the absolute truth. He said Gahininath Maharaj told him to only keep chanting Krishna Naam and do Krishna Bhakti, because that is the only thing which will take you beyond the samsara sagar. That is, the ocean of material life. Muktai was overjoyed to hear this. Jnaneshwar Mauli and Sopan, they were also present. They were also listening to Nivruttinath Maharaj very intently. And you can say in a certain way, these two brothers and sister, these three became the disciples of Nivruttinath. So he is considered the guru of Jnaneshwar Mauli, Sopan Dev, and also Muktai. Feeling very positive with all this, Vitthal Pant felt that now it was time for them to go to Alandi and see whether the Brahmin council of Alandi would accept him into their fold, because he was more concerned about the fact that the thread ceremony of his three sons had to be done because they were of that age then. Though Nivruttinath Maharaj was a liberated, enlightened soul, and he felt that there was no need for him to get any thread of purification on him because he felt they were already purified, they were Shuddha. But still, Mauli said that there are certain rituals, certain scriptures which had to be followed, and if the father wants that to be done, we should obey him. So they set off from Trimbakeshwar to Alandi. At Alandi, the treatment was no different than what it was at Apega. The Brahmin council here was even more crude in their versions towards the family. Other thing which hurt the family most was that all the relatives at Alandi had distanced themselves, and they didn't even bother to come and ask them if they needed any help or support. So this was a lesson for the four children, obviously for all of us through them, that no one can be trusted in this world. You cannot have faith in someone who is already in the materialistic life. So faith has to be only in the ultimate. So your guru, a saint, a truly qualified spiritual master only will lead you to the ultimate path. He will help you to cross the material life, the ocean of material life, and take you to regions beyond that. So the lesson we got from here is no human being is going to have the same nature the next day as what he has today. So previously the same relations, the relatives who were there at Alandi, including Siddhopant, the maternal grandfather of these four children, he too distanced himself from the family, feeling that he would otherwise have a blot on his profession of being a Kulkarni. Though he did feel a little bad, but then he was bound by certain village constrictions. Okay, now coming back to what happened to these four children later on. When they approached the Brahmin council at Alandi, the president of that council meted out a punishment after a lot of discussions with various scholars and learned persons, that the only way in which you can get your children purified and make them eligible for a thread ceremony is by Dehanta Prayashchit. That means the parents had to end their life. In today's world, we would call it as suicide, but back then it was not considered as a suicide at all. So they said that if the parents undergo this particular repentance of ending their own lives, then these four children could be included in the Brahmin community at Alandi. Vitthal Pant and his wife Rukhmini were of such a great magnanimous thought that they felt that if we have to end our lives, it's okay, but at least our children will have a secure future. They will be recognized in the community. They will be taken into the fold. So they planned to end their lives at Prayag by offering their body at the Triveni Sangam. But before that, they had to convince their children. Now, it was not they were sneaking out at night when the children were asleep and rushed off to Prayag. No, it was not like that. Here, the parents give us a very, very strong message Now let's see how they handled the scene. Vitthal Pant was a little, you can say, detached. So he did not show any emotional response, but Rukhmini ultimately was a mother, and maternal instincts are sometimes a hurdle in the path of such decisions. She picked up little Muktai, who was just about 5 years of age, and placed her on Nivruttinath's lap, who was of 11 years of age. Jnaneshwar Mauli was about 9 or 10 years of age, and Sopande was about 7 years of age. Now she speaks to Nivruttinath. The words are very important, and how a mother convinces her child to become a parent is something which we should learn from this. She tells Nivruttinath, "You are now the mother and father to these 3 children." Jnandev, I know, is a very intelligent and a very understanding person. He understands what I'm going through. He understands my inner turmoil. So he will never trouble you. In fact, he will see to it that he shares your responsibilities or burdens also. About Sopande, what can I say, she said. He is the most understanding of the lot. I have seen days when there was no food to eat, but not once did he ever come and say, I need food to eat or I'm hungry. When the plate would be served with something and he would be called, only then he would come and eat. He would never ask even for water from me. He is a child with a very silent disposition. But she says, the child which I have put on your lap, Muktai, she is not an ordinary person. First of all, she is Adi Maya, Adi Shakti. And as you know, the feminine power is very aggressive also sometimes. She is a straightforward person. She will speak her heart out, but sometimes the words may be hurting. It may sound caustic. She means no harm. Her intentions are very pure. But she would like to have things in her own way. And if things don't happen that way, she could get a little disturbed or she could get a little agitated also. So the 3 of you have to take care of her. Though she said this vocally, inwardly she knew that it was Muktai who was going to take care of the other 3, because she was Adi Shakti Mahamaya, she was mother. But because for Laukik reasons, for the sake of material life, as she was the youngest, she was the pet of the entire family. She was a favorite of all of them. So these 3 brothers would look upon her very affectionately and would have to take care of her like a very, very small child would be taken care of. She told Nivruttinath that in case she becomes a little stubborn, she asks for something and she is hell-bent on getting that thing, then do not quieten her or do not silence her by scolding her or even raising your hand at her. Try to explain things to her, she will understand. She told Jnaneshwar Mauli that Muktai has a special affection for you, which I have seen in her eyes. When she asks for Jnanda, where is Jnandev Dada? So I can understand how much she feels for you. She knows that Sopandev is a very sober and silent person, and so in his company she is very calm and subdued. So she knows how to change her personality with each one of you. Now you have to accommodate her among yourselves. Because she's a girl, I'm also worried about one more thing. It's not that I really like to leave you all and go away. Go away to a place, give up my life, give up my entire affection for you by doing Dehanta Prayashit. I'm a mother ultimately. Which mother would like to leave her children, especially in this particular condition where they don't even have food and water in the house, where they're treated like outcasts by the same village and the same community? Which mother would like to leave these helpless children and go? But I'm doing this all only because I truly care for you. I want that this very society should accept you so that you three boys can have your sacred thread ceremony done, and Muktai could also in future get married into the same fold. So for the future of all of you, we have to take such a rash decision. So please do not mistake us. Do not cry after we leave. Do not come and cling to us when we are just reaching the door to exit out of the house, because that will make us come back and we do not want to reverse our path again. So I request all of you, she said, all you four, please, wherever you are, stay calm, stay controlled, keep your emotions under control, and bid both your parents farewell without having any tears in your eyes. Though it was a very difficult scene, but the children followed the mother because they felt that whatever she was doing it with a very, very hard heart. Rukhmini and Vitthal Pant left for Prayag. The children remained at Arandi in their small dwelling. At Prayag, both Vitthal Pant and Rukhmini jumped into the Triveni Sangam and gave up their lives for the sake of these four children. Actually, they have not given up their lives only for the sake of these four children. The main cause was for the benefit of all mankind, because had they not done the Hanta Prayashit, that is repentance, by ending one's life, these four children wouldn't have come out into the spiritual world and made us all walk on the same path. What happens to these four children at various stages will be seen in the further episodes. One small mention, that even though the parents ended their life by giving their bodies into the Triveni Sangam, it is considered not as a suicide, but it is considered to be the true way to end one's life if he does it at the Triveni Sangam at Prayag. This is what the scriptures say. So viewers and listeners should not mistake that it is a type of suicide. It is supposed to be an offering to the water that we are coming back to where we belong. Leaving this section at this note, we continue in the next. Ram Krishna Hari.